My wife, Jenny, and I, and William, not Bill or Will, but William, have been married for a long time. 30 years, and for 4 years before we were married, we lived together. We were both married and divorced before we met. Jenny and I raised my son from a previous marriage and now have a grandson. We are now in our golden years. I am 64 and she just turned 60. Neither of us have movie star looks. Jenny is very petite, pixie-like, has the cutest butt I have ever seen, and the gorgeous body of a woman 20 years younger. My wife is very dear to me, but I am the only person who thinks she is the most beautiful woman in the world. This is because I love and cherish her so much. I'm sure she feels the same way about me. You can see it in the way we care for and treat each other. We are best friends and confidants. So what is the problem, you may ask? My loving, caring, beloved wife is sleeping with other men. I say with men, even though it may be just one man, the one I caught her with. Let me tell you a little about myself and what led to the problem I am facing. I am 64 years old, of average height and a little overweight. I have had a heart condition for about 8 years now and have been on several medications. One of the side effects of some of these medications is the inability to maintain an erection for long periods of time. We love each other very much, lots of kissing, cuddling, and grabbing asses, but I am unable to have good old-fashioned sex. It was okay for a while, but apparently not for constant power. I'm kind of retired. I have a small business that keeps me busy 2 days a week, but my wife still works. Thank goodness. I don't know how we would manage without her excellent paycheck and health insurance. The company she works for has meetings at least quarterly and sometimes more often, and she has to travel to the district office for those meetings. She is usually only away from home for 2 or 3 days. She leaves Thursday morning and returns Saturday evening. Once a year, there is a big district meeting where the spouses are invited and the company pays the bill. We fly out Wednesday and return Saturday or Sunday. Very cool. I get to play golf for 2 days while my wife goes to the meetings. It was at the big meeting that I started to notice something was wrong. After checking into our room on Wednesday, we went down to the lobby bar to relax and wait for dinner. Meetings and my golf was scheduled to start the next day. We were sitting at the bar when one of her co-workers approached us. I hadn't met him before, as he worked in the district office. He approached Jenny from behind, put both hands on her shoulders, and began to give her a light massage. Jenny leaned forward to remove his hands and said, "Henry, this is my husband, William. Honey, this is Henry Jackson. He's my co-worker at the county office." Henry is a nice-looking man, about 6 feet tall and about 200 pounds. He was about 40 to 45 years old. I shook Henry's hand and said it was nice to meet him and that Jenny had mentioned him and what a good manager he was. Henry said, "Nice to meet you, Willie. I didn't realize Jenny's husband was so old, no wonder." "Excuse me," I said. "My name is William. That was my grandfather's name, and I prefer not to dishonor his memory by shortening his name. And what do you mean by unsurprising?" "Oh, sorry, and that's okay, actually. I'll see you at dinner," he replied with a smirk on his face. As he left, I turned to Jenny and asked, "What the hell was that? He treats you like his property, putting his hands all over you, disrespects me, and makes remarks like that?" "No wonder. What did he mean by that, Jenny? What the hell is going on? Is there anything else I need to know about this, Henry?" A shadow came over Jenny's face, but then she recovered and said that Henry was just being awkward with people and didn't mean anything by it, and he finally apologized. His wife didn't show up for this meeting, and he's just a little lonely. Forget about him. Let's just enjoy our drinks and dinner before we go up to the room. I didn't want to let the thought go, but decided that maybe I was just tired after the flight and was overreacting. However, the thought continued to hover in the back of my mind. We went up to the room. I gave my wife a sexy massage and ran her a hot bath. While I was taking the bath, the phone next to the bed rang. Jenny picked it up and I heard the following. "What are you doing calling my room, and why were you so disrespectful to William downstairs?" Yes, I can't wait any longer either, but we have to be careful. I don't want to ruin my marriage, So behave yourself until tomorrow afternoon, okay, Henry? As she walked into the bathroom, I asked, "Who was on the phone?" She said it was the front desk. They wanted to know if the room was okay and if we needed anything. Son of a bitch. She lied right to my face. Son of a bitch. How many appointments do you have tomorrow? If you can sneak out in the afternoon, I'll give up golf and spend the day with you looking around town. Jenny replied that the meetings would go until about 5 and drinks and dinner at 6, so I should go and enjoy the golf. I may not be the sharpest tool in the shed, but I'm not exactly a fool, and felt that there were things going on that I needed to check out. I told Jenny that my game would start tomorrow at 10. I would have lunch on the course and get back to the hotel between 4 and 5 o'clock. That would give me time to get ready for dinner. The next morning, Jenny dressed in a nice business pantsuit, and as she left for her meeting, she kissed me and told me to enjoy my game. Well, I didn't go golfing that day. I just left the hotel around 10 and drove around the neighborhood until about 1 o'clock. I got back to the hotel, and upon entering the lobby, I saw a group of my wife's co-workers at the bar. The bar is an oval with service on all sides, and I sat down as if undercover and listened to the conversation. I could hear their plans for the afternoon. I also heard them talking about some of the employees having a party in a private room in the hotel lobby, and that they should be careful because some of them had brought their spouses with them on this trip. One of the guys I knew said that Henry better be careful since her husband was here and not what they did at the quarterly meetings. One lady said it was different at the quarterly meetings because the spouses didn't show up and people could party heartily. Of course, I had to check out this private party after last night's event at the bar and hearing Henry's name. Once inside the hall, I walked over to the door to the private room and tried to open it. The door wouldn't open, and the bartender said it was locked for the duration of the private party. I walked over to the bar, put a $50 bill on it, and asked, "Maybe the lock on the door is broken and doesn't work?" He just smiled at me, took the money, and said, "Give me 5 minutes." I grabbed a beer and sat at the table for 10 minutes or so. I don't know how I managed to wait that long, but I got up and tried the door again. Apparently the lock was faulty and the door opened. As I started to enter the lounge, the bartender said, "Be careful, I heard a guy say he boxed at the Golden Gloves." I told him I wasn't going to cause any trouble, just wanted to check something out. I slowly opened the door and peeked around the corner. In the room were about 3 couples in varying degrees of undress. The couple I was looking for was at a table in a dimly lit corner. Henry was sitting in a large armchair and Jenny was lying in his lap, facing him. She was no longer wearing her pantsuit. She had changed into a very short skirt and an almost transparent blouse with no bra. Her top was almost completely exposed. My Jenny, my wife, my best friend, the love of my life and my soulmate was having fun with another man. I wondered if I was having a heart attack as my chest was pounding and I thought I was going to burst out. Gradually, I felt better, but I felt a huge white-hot anger come over me. On trips like this, I always take my digital camera with me to take pictures of the golf courses I play. Now I had the camera with me, I pulled it out of my pocket, set it to low light, and took a few shots. Then I slipped out of the room. What should I do now? Throw myself into their arms, wait, and get my revenge later? What? My friend the bartender looked up and said, "Sorry, man. I'm assuming one of these ladies is your wife or girlfriend." I asked him when they came in, and he said, "Around 12:30 and asked for a private room. They've done it before." He said I looked like I could use a drink, and I ordered a double bourbon. He put it on the counter and said, "On the house." I put another 50 on the counter and asked, "Will you call my room when they leave?" He handed me back the 50 and said he'd be glad to. Went through the same thing myself about a year ago. I went back to the room to wait for his call. I got a call saying they were leaving around 4. Just enough time for her to have time to clean up the evidence of her afternoon delight, I thought. She didn't notice me when she ran into our room. I was sitting in the living room, which you can't see from the bed. She started to change into a pantsuit that was lying on the bed. I said, "Hi, honey. How was the meeting?" Jenny jumped a meter in the air. "Oh, you're back already," Jenny said. She looked a little flushed and very nervous and tried to hide that she was changing back into her pantsuit. "Yeah, I pulled my back a bit and decided to hang on. I'll be fine tomorrow," I offered. I then remarked, "I see you changed your outfit. I thought you looked really nice this morning when you left." "Oh, I spilled something on my pants and changed between sessions. Have you showered for dinner yet?" she asked. "Yeah, I'll go down to the bar and wait for you. I'll see you in a little while." I stood up, kissed her, and headed for the door. As I opened the door, I remembered that I had left my key card on the table. I closed the door and started to head back to the room when I heard her on the phone. She was telling someone that I was back early and they wouldn't be having drinks together like they had planned, but they could dance after dinner. Very quietly, opening and closing the door, I went down to the bar, ordered a double bourbon, and sat down at a table. Jenny came down to join me and we started dinner. A few minutes later, my buddy Henry walked past us to the bar and grabbed a drink. "Hey, Henry, why don't you join us?" I suggested. He looked a little awkward, but agreed and sat down at our table. "Henry and Jenny, let me show you the pictures I took on my trip today." I placed the camera in front of them and started scrolling through the pictures I had taken earlier in the private room. He became increasingly anxious and nervous and got up to leave after the first 2 or 3 shots. Jenny had her head down, covering her face, and was crying and moaning, "No, oh God, please no." Henry seemed to gather his courage and said, "So what? She was there willingly, and I don't think there's anything you can do about it, old man." "If you don't want those pictures to get to your wife and boss, you better sit back down, you son of a bitch," I ordered him. "Here's what's about to happen, you pissant and you, my cheating whore wife. You're going to tell me everything about the two of you. How long, how many times, where, and anything else I want to know. I may have gotten old and my health may be failing, but I can still take your ass down, asshole. Don't forget, I retired as the commander of the Sith group. My old grandfather once told me, 'Son, that there comes a point in every man's life when he stops hitting with his knuckles and starts hitting with his lids, and it's usually when he gets too old to take a kick in the ass.' I'm just about that age. So sit down again, asshole. If you get me again, I'm gonna make sure I see you fucked up. You know, trashed beyond recognition. If I fail, my brother Seal will help out an old shipmate. So start talking, motherfucker, or get your business, unfortunate choice of words, in order, because I promise you I'll mess up your world one way or another." Okay. We meet at quarterly meetings, have fun, and occasionally get together for big meetings like this one. We've been meeting for about a year now. At first it was just a few drinks and light petting, but the last 2 meetings we've had sex. Jenny says she's not satisfied at home and she wants to feel loved again, at least physically. She's not in love with me. She just wants to have sex and have some fun. That's according to her. Come on, Jenny, tell him. Jenny sat there sobbing and moaning and didn't look up. She said nothing, only cried. "You're scum, you asshole. A married man sleeping with a married woman with no regard for who it might hurt. I hope you had a good time, because this is going to cost you," I said. "I'm done with that." "Understood," Henry nodded. I said, "Did you understand?" He said he understood and got up to leave the table. I got up as he stood up and kicked him right in the balls with my foot. Henry went down like a fallen tree. This is just an example of what will happen if you ever see or speak to her again outside of a business setting. I'll end your life as you know it. Now crawl out of here, you piece of shit. One of the women at our table said, "Punch that man in the crotch." "Yes, lady. As hard as I could, and I may do it again in the near future." I took Jenny's hand and pulled her behind me into the hallway. "Did you really think I was so stupid or so decrepit that I wouldn't guess?" "Oh, no, please, God," she cried. "William, let me explain, please. I love you. It was just for sex. I love only you. But I'm very frustrated with the lack of sex. I felt old and worthless. I know you can't give me sex, but I felt like I wasn't attractive anymore, and it was messing with my head. Bullshit, Jenny. It wasn't just sex. It was a full-blown affair with dancing, romance, kissing, cuddling, and making love. Not just sex, but making love. Honey, in a way, I almost understand your need for sex. We haven't had meaningful sex between us in about 7 years because of the medication I'm on. But Henry, that low-life piece of shit, I can't believe your bad taste. What I can't forgive is your lack of respect for me. I mean, doing all this in a company where everybody knows. Then I have to socialize with them and not know that I have become an object of scorn, pity, or both. Now I understand some of the looks and comments I was getting. Jesus, Jenny, why didn't you just shoot the fuck out of me? Jenny looked at me and asked, "What do we do next?" Please, I'll do anything to make it up to you and show you how sorry I am. I don't know where we go next, Jenny. There is a flight home at 9 o'clock today. I will be on it. I know it's important to your job that you're here for tomorrow morning's sessions, but you have a plane at 1:30 tomorrow. He'll arrive home around 3 o'clock. I'll be at the airport to pick you up. If you will be there, we can go home and discuss our problems and see if we can resolve this situation. If you stay here with your party friends and don't take the plane, I'll pack up and leave tomorrow night and it will be over. Take your pick, Jenny. I don't know if I can do without your playing time and disrespecting me, but I'm willing to at least discuss your actions and try to figure out what we should do. Okay, enough talking. I'm out of here. I'll see you tomorrow night, or maybe not. Good luck at tonight's dinner and tomorrow's conference call. I don't think you'll be doing much dancing with Henry tonight, maybe tomorrow, but I don't think so. Jenny ran up to me, apologizing and trying to hug me, but I pulled back and held up my hand. Right now, I don't want to touch you. Leave me alone, I told her. She replied, Please don't leave. We can go out to dinner, then we can talk, and tomorrow afternoon we can go home together, please. I can't, Jenny. If I see that asshole again, I might kill him. I'm also very upset with the rest of your co-workers. Many of them knew about this, and it's embarrassing to stand in front of them like nothing happened. I'm leaving to catch my plane. I hope to see you tomorrow. I don't know how I feel right now. I only know that I'm in so much pain. I don't know if I can take it. My heart is racing, and I'm so angry I could kill someone. I walked out of the entryway where we were standing and headed to the counter to get my bag. There was a shuttle waiting at the counter, and I headed to the airport. I thought the flight would calm me down and allow me to sort things out in my head. No such luck. The more I thought, the angrier I got. If Henry had been on that plane, I would have opened the door and kicked him out. And screw both of them. When I finally got home, I had a couple drinks. What am I supposed to do now? I have a comfortable lifestyle, and it would all change if I broke up with Jenny. One of the contributing factors to this lifestyle was Jenny's job and the health insurance that came with it. I could make a living, but I wouldn't enjoy it as much as I did with Jenny. Would I be able to get over the cheating and stay, or would I have to kick her out? The next day I was at the airport. Passenger after passenger got off the plane and passed my viewing spot. Jenny was the last to get off. I was relieved when I saw her. At least she was concerned about our marriage. She came up to me and said, Let's go home and talk. We really need to talk. When we got home, Jenny took a shower and then joined me in the family room. So what do you want to say, Jenny? She looked at the floor and then at me. I'm sorry I hurt you. I didn't mean for this to happen. Despite what you think, it was just for sex. Yes, we danced and had fun, but there was no love involved for Henry or me. It was just a good time and a release for me from the sexual frustrations of the last 7 years. Before you started taking all those pills, our sex life was great. It was loving, exciting, and you were always finding little ways to make it better and better. And then it all went away at once. I dealt with it for 6 years, but 2 months ago came the breaking point. It would have been better if I had chosen someone and something else to break, but it all happened on its own. Again, I am so sorry you have been hurt. Please forgive me for that at least. What are your plans? I have to leave, Jenny. I don't believe I can stay here. You said you were sorry I got hurt, but you never said you were sorry for sleeping with another man. How can I live with that? The question is, how can I live without you? You've been my life for the last 30-odd years. Can I just walk away from this? Have your actions killed all feelings? I don't know, I just don't know. Jenny cried again, but said I should stay in the house and she would move into the guest room, at least for now. If you leave and file for divorce or separation, my insurance won't cover you anymore. I love you too much to let you leave and get even sicker without the medical care you need. Please stay here, at least for a few weeks. I thought, why should I suffer because of my wife's cheating? I had done nothing wrong, so I decided to stay. Things went back to normal. Well, as normal as possible. We were polite to each other, but hardly socialized except for a few necessary conversations. Jenny moved into the guest room and only came into my room to put away laundry and do other chores. We pretty much stayed out of each other's way as much as possible. I started drinking a little. Not a little, but too much. There were a few nights when I wasn't even close to sobriety, and I started most mornings with a drink. It went on like that for about a month, and then Jenny asked me to sit with her and talk one night. "You've got to stop this drinking," declared Jenny. "It's really bad for you. Do you want to kill yourself?" "Not exactly, but why should you care if I do?" "Insurance will pay for the funeral," I replied. "Then you can play with Henry or the other sex helpers without me to spoil your fun." I wanted to hurt Jenny at least a little for her infidelity. For the first time since confronting Jenny, I saw real anger on her face. "You asshole!" Jenny yelled at me. "I love you, care for you, and worry about you more than anyone in your life. Ever. If I didn't, I wouldn't have subjected myself to this hell we're in right now. What the hell is wrong with you? Why don't you take better care of yourself? Please talk to me and explain." "Okay. You asked for it. The only person in the world I really trusted, the only person I loved more than myself, the only person who became a part of me, just screwed me over big time. I just had to get over it, and the fact that we live together and I'm not affected by it. I can't take it. I'm going crazy. Do I stay here because the alternative is I could get even sicker and die? Do I do what any proud person would do and leave? There are two reasons why I'm still here and haven't kicked you out. 1, I'm more afraid of getting sick and dying than I am of being weak. 2, and this is the most important, I can't imagine my life without you. Despite what happened, I still love you and I hope I can survive what happened. That's why I drink. It helps me turn my brain off so I don't have to see what happened in that private room. No more talking. Leave me alone." I walked into my room and slammed the door shut. Everything would stay the same, and I would probably drink myself into oblivion. I couldn't fathom what had happened to my beautiful life, and now it was gone. I probably would have continued to live the way we lived and done nothing about it. However, fate, the gods, or the devil decided that I hadn't been messed with enough yet, and decided to participate in my little drama. Every week I played the Powerball lottery for just $5, and I never won anything. But one weekend I ran the numbers and won not just a small prize, but an entire shooting gallery. 4 other tickets were sold with the same numbers, which meant the winners would share the big prize. My share was $12 million. Heck, $12 million. I could have taken cash. That would have been about $6 million, or an annual check for $250,000 a year for 20 years. I put the ticket in my grandson's name. I asked my son to manage the money for me. That way they would not become part of the divorce proceedings if I decided to go that route. My son was unhappy about cheating Mom, but he knew the situation and agreed to my wishes. This money means I will no longer have to depend on insurance or Jenny's paycheck. If I want to leave, I won't have to worry about anything financially. So, now that I don't have to stay, will I stay? Will my pride save me and I'll leave? I still don't know what to do. What would you do now?